Call the meeting to order. Would you stand for the pledge, please? Mary Beth?
Councilwoman Chapman.
Here.
Councilman Deegan.
Here.
Councilman Appuccino.
Here.
Councilman Reifenberg.
Here.
Supervisor Albrecht.
Here.
Town Attorney Emily Swenson.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. I'd like to motion to accept items for special consideration 15A, B, and C.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
And a motion to adopt the agenda.
so moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There are no public hearings. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of 2/21/24 Town Board meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All official correspondence is on file in the town clerk's office. There are no presentations. I'd like to open up the meeting, motion to open the meeting for public comment for one time only, 3 minutes a person. Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Does anybody, why?
Gary Vader, Salt Point Turnpike, Pleasant Valley. On the agenda, one of the items is it's too much paperwork here. It's amending the general fund budget. I think it might be an error on one thing there. Line item 1410.100, town clerk for personal service, $3,350. If it's for personal service, you can't do that for an elected official. If it's for replacing,
It wasn't for her. It was for the girls in the office.
okay. As long as the motion says it's for somebody besides the town clerk. I think the other comes under, actually it's under old business. The truck that was, the used truck that came up at the last meeting to buy. In fact, the highway superintendent did,
Gary, that's not on the agenda.
old business is under the agenda. Where does it come? I always got confused whether that's now or the other choice is new business, and this is not new business.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't want to speak for how you, but I think that typically the first public comment is for items on the agenda, and the second one is for, it says non-agenda items.
Okay, that's fine. I'll look them up later. Thank you.
Anyone else? A motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, new business discussion, green purchasing community, Councilman Reifenberg.
So I just wanted to kind of bring it in front of the board and see what everybody's thoughts were. We attended the Association of Towns, and one of the classes that Phil and I attended was about the green purchasing community. It's a little quick history about it is New York State has put a lot of resources into identifying a bunch of different stuff. So cleaning products, a microwave, basically everything you can think of that the state would need to buy. They've identified some specs of particular products that either come in very light packaging compared to other products, or they're made out of more green ingredients that are renewable. Basically the state has done all the hard work in researching that, and they've been doing it for a few years now, where if you're a state agency, you have to purchase, you don't have an option, you have to purchase products that meet these guidelines if it's covered under them. So this class was about, they've come up with now for local towns something called a green purchasing community, and it's a designation by New York State that basically you alter the procurement policy for the town by putting one paragraph in our procurement policy that basically says that, hey, if we're going to purchase anything within the town, we will do our due diligence to at least look at if there's a option that's better for everybody. And what they've noticed is particular things like, for example, cleaning products or printer paper. In the beginning of this program, those items were really super expensive, but because New York State, all the agencies are purchasing them now, the price has dramatically come down to where it's basically even to a regular package of paper or the regular cleaning products, or it's actually cheaper because they're buying so much of it. So basically we'd alter the procurement policy to allow wiggle room, so you would start with looking. Obviously if it's significantly more expensive, we don't have to do it. But it's just to at least look and take the time to see if there's a better option than what we're doing now when buying stuff. It's very simple to join. Basically, we just update our procurement policy. We get all the department heads on board. We pass a resolution for that, and then it's a one-page application. Right now in New York State, there's many cities that have joined, but there's only 2 towns in the entire state that have joined so far. It's very, very new. So I'd like to propose that, unless there's a big objection to doing this, potentially providing a resolution and an updated procurement policy within the next couple meetings that we could adopt and try doing our part and overall.
Oh, I like that idea very much. Being on the Climate Smart Committee, I really like that. The ladies are really going to be happy about that.
Well, that's another thing I forgot, is it actually gives a bunch of points for Climate Smart as well. It falls under one of the categories on there. And we get like a plaque and whatever as well, but it's not really about that. It's about just making smarter choices. Do you have anything to add, because you were in the class as well, that I missed?
You touched on it, Michael. I
Okay.
agree we should definitely get in there. We'll be town number 3.
Yeah.
There's only 2 in New York State.
And I think just
Yeah.
people don't know about it, so that's why they were running this class. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people in the class. It was kind of at an odd time. But I never heard about it, so they're kind of just, it's so new, nobody knows about it, so it'd be kind of neat to get in on the ground level here.
That would be very, very nice.
Cool. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Can I just add that a year or so ago, we kind of overhauled the procurement policy to change the levels and things like that. And since we've been using the new policy, I think there are a couple things we could just tweak to make the wording a little clearer. So while we're in there, if I could do that, we could
Yeah, you
combine
had said
those
that to me.
efforts, yeah.
Yeah, in an email, so that's, yes,
Thanks.
that would be very, very good.
And what I'll do is I'll just send you the language that needs to be added.
Okay.
And then I'll let you just do all the other
Super.
stuff, and then we'll just bring it back.
Great,
Thanks,
thank you.
Emily.
Okay, 12B, to allow CPL to solicit bids on the design plan for Bauer driveway.
Yeah, so CPL, Greg, has put together a very lengthy bid package for this. Basically, we want tonight is basically to allow Greg and CPL and Emily to work together, for Emily to kind of go through it, Greg and them to come up and finalize everything, and then allow them to kind of then, from that point, once it's finalized, be released for bid, and then we'll give 2 to 4 weeks for it. So it's kind of just authorizing them. We've had it. We could look it over. I'm sure there's just going to be minor changes to it. Do you want to speak about any of it, or?
The only thing that I would add is the bid document itself is lengthy, and the fact that it has a lot of different things that Emily can look at, as far as she hasn't had a chance to look at it, so she'll need to take some time to look at it. But also the more important thing, I guess, would be for the plans that I circulated as well, for the board to look at those and see if they had any tweaks that they'd like to see made to that. But that's pretty much what we're proposing to do. And as we've talked about before, would be to bring in the driveway off of North Avenue. It adds about 35 to 40 more parking spaces. It adds an additional handicap ADA space that would be required because we're now over 50 spaces. So it adds some parking spaces there, and then it opens up. They did do the clearing. If anybody's had a chance or not had a chance to get out there and take a look, they cleared that property down, or the portion of that. We needed to get that done before the end of March. So that's now done. So it kind of opens up, and you can really see the opportunity there for use.
And I'll just add for the board, when you're looking through the plans, something that's changed a little bit, I'm actually going to see if I can bring this up on the TV here. Okay. Mary Beth, would you mind bringing it? Thank you. Of course, hold on. So it was brought up by some residents that obviously parking is a huge issue over here. So what we've done is if you look at the main parking area, along that bottom left area, we've added, I think it's, I can't see it right now, but I think it's 11 to 14 spots there, which is not being utilized now. And then on this plan, you'll see angular spots coming in off the driveway. I think we're going to hold off on them for
Okay.
now, just because now that it's cleared, I think we can start looking at the potential that we can put something there. And the last thing we want to do is put parking and then realize that we can't have parking there. So that portion's kind of is going to be removed. But yeah, does anybody have any questions about this so far?
Can you just say that again? The angled spaces on the driveway coming in are being eliminated?
Yeah, so we wanted to have both options to kind of see what it's like. And I think there was even talks that Greg in the bid package was kind of having that as an option for just to get the price of, okay, if we want to do them, this is how much more it is. We budgeted for all of that when we did the when we initially came before the board. But looking at it now cleared, I think there's a lot more room there to potentially do maybe a soccer field, or it's bigger now that it's opened up a little bit. There was one other thing. With the electrical, And correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, you broke the electrical out in the bid as well?
Yes, it'll be broken out as an alternate.
Yeah.
And then one of the other things that I had talked to Councilman Iacino about is the looking at whether or not it makes sense if you're digging the trench to put in the three-phase power now, or if the cost of the materials outweighs the benefit of having that option at some time in the future. Right now, if the town were to have park facilities there, and I don't mean to jump out, but just because I've been involved in the town for quite a while, at one point in time, that park facility was looked at as a potential site for a well supply. Not saying that that's what we're doing, but if we're taking power out to that area, if you did have a future use for it, because I don't want people to think we're planning on lights. The three-phase power would be for something along those lines, whether or not, but again, if the cost of putting in the additional wire, it outweighs the benefit, then it's something that could be done at a later time.
Yeah, and it also allows us, we budgeted to put power in, but, you know, it might make sense if we're not doing conduit and all that stuff, that maybe when we get the bid back, to not put the power in right now, if it's easy enough just to trench and put it in later, and then we know if we need three-phase or whatnot. So we have a lot of options with the bid package that Greg put together, to allow us to kind of tailor to what we want.
Can I add something to that, Michael? Greg, I did check on the cable. The cable, it's not changing.
Okay,
It doesn't change very often.
okay,
They say right now, the conduit would be as much as the underground cable per foot, because
Right.
conduit's going crazy.
yep,
The other thing is shearing a trench is no problem. They got put sand on the bottom, which is normal, and sand on top. And the three-phase would be more efficient if we're running any motors in the future. It'll cost us less money in the long run for one more cable.
right. And it's just, you know, I know that anytime you talk about bringing power, immediately people's minds go to lights, and that's not the thought or the purpose of what, you know, we're
The only other thing I would recommend is, once we have a handle on when we're gonna award the contracts and the contractor's gonna start, we really should put a sign up at the park that it's gonna be temporarily closed. Because there's a lot of people use the park, and the contractors will be using that parking area as a staging area, and it was a handful for 3 days.
You did a wonderful job with that, by the way.
Well,
Thank
just
you
a
very
lot of people
much.
enjoy the park. There was over 20
Yeah.
people there yesterday.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question. Besides material, are there any savings that can be gained labor-wise from doing it now, when everybody's mobilized there, as far as, or not really?
No, very much so. I mean, if you do the power, the trench and everything now, when you have a contractor mobilized, it would be more cost effective. It's just the spending the money now, if you don't know if you're ever gonna use it, it's kind of one of those. But that's why we would have it as a line item, and so the board can specifically see what that cost is and make the determination at the time that we have true costs, what that additional cost would be.
Greg, I didn't look at this yet, but you made that as like an add alternate, so we can do it with or without?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I need to work on that a little bit, Emily, so I'll get just trying to get it on the agenda so that like Mike was saying, so that we have the opportunity and the board knows what it is that we're putting out to bid. And then, you know, the board obviously will, when the bids come in, have the opportunity to determine whether or not to award the bids or not.
So, if there's no more questions, I'll make a motion to allow CPL and Gordon and Svensson to work together to finalize the bid paperwork, and then to allow them to put the bid out for anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 13, old business discussion. An update on the new town hall. Right?
Yeah, so
Councilman
this
Reifenberg?
is our monthly update of what's been going on. Honestly, we haven't been doing, we haven't been working with CPL as much right now because they're really going to town. Yeah, they're going and doing everything. So, we wanted to give an update of just minor things that were changed. I'm going to bring this up on the screen. So also, while we're here, you might have noticed that we have a new TV on the wall. Basically, the story of that is the projector we've always used in the past wasn't actually owned by us. It was owned by a councilman. So we either needed to purchase a new projector or figure out a new solution. So we worked with Dave Talbot, and he's volunteered numerous hours with all this stuff. So thank you, Dave, as always. And we looked at both options, and the TV made most sense. It was pretty much the same price, if not cheaper. But the advantage is that normally when we project something on the wall, people watching from home can't see it. So now this is going there, but it's also going directly to YouTube. So instead of seeing the room right now, they'll see what the presentation actually is, so they actually can see what we're talking about. So let me just zoom in a little bit. So this past week we dealt with, obviously the front of the building is for mainly meetings and court. So most of the offices, all the offices except for the court, are on the second floor. So normal business hours, people are going to be going to the back of the building. You'll see there's this entrance here and there's this entrance here. So the dilemma we had to work through was, how do you make this entrance more attractive than this entrance? Because in reality, this entrance over here is only going to be an employee entrance. It's not going to be for the public. So we didn't want people ending up over here when they should be going here. So this is going to be a nice, I don't know what you would call that. An open trellis awning with some columns, a few steps up. You'll see a red line here. Basically what's going to happen is there's going to be a handicap sidewalk that comes off the regular sidewalk, and then a ramp that comes up onto this landing to enter the town hall. And then over here, we've gone with a banister that kind of makes this door look less attractive for people to naturally go to. And it'll have steps that go up the side and go in that way. So that's that. There's also, what do you call these?
Well, those would be gabled awnings, but those are required in order for the
Greg, if you could just go. Sorry, just so they can hear you at home.
You're right. Sorry about that. So what we're identifying there is the HVAC system will be in the attic space, and those would be the exhaust. So we're going to need a roof penetration. Right now on the back side of the roof, it's just a flat roof, or not a flat, anyways, straight across roof. And so we were looking at basically having air exhaust. The air intake would be at the two ends of the building, but the air exhaust would be along the roof face. And so those are just depicting, we would need probably 1 to 3 exhaust locations, but we were just trying to show kind of what that might look like as far as just making them a little bit decorative and having a place to exhaust the air from because you need, in the modern age of ventilation, you have to have a number of air exchanges throughout the building, and which is very different from an older building. So having those air exchanges, you've got to bring in fresh air and exhaust, I guess, stale air.
So that's why those are there, and that's kind of the back of the building. Let me just bring this back over, and I'll bring up the next one, and Greg can jump in here. So this kind of just shows an overview of everything.
Yeah, so the handicap or the ADA parking spaces would be in the center of the parking area, and then you would have a single ramp that would line up with the no parking area between the ADA spaces, and then you would have, and I'm calling it a ramp, but what it would really be a slope sidewalk, so it would be less than 5%. You don't have to have a handrail. it wouldn't, it's maneuverable, and it's not, you don't have a handrail going across the face of the building. It's more appealing or attractive, you could say. And because there's not enough room to get an ADA ramp from the parking lot straight to the door. It has to come from the side. So that's why we thought it might as well take up a little more length and put in a sloped sidewalk that provides that access. And then it would come up to the landing of the door.
So just one update on the floor plan, some changes after we presented this last month. The constables had some conversation with us about the substation, which is here in the back corner. One of the issues they have now is during court nights, if there's prisoners that have to go before the judge, they basically come in and they're sat in the jury box, which obviously if we're building a new court, we need to come up with a safer option. So we've taken the substation. One of their concerns is that we did have a bench, but we had a desk, we had a bunch of stuff that people could grab, and at times they have up to 10 to 14 people here under custody. So we've minimized this room. There's going to be benches along the exterior walls so they can put hardware and whatever else that they need. And then there'll be some sort of desks for the substation, but it's really making it more of an area where they can safely watch over these folks while they're waiting for it's not a holding cell. We don't want to use that.
You have to be real careful when
Yeah.
you use that wording, because then you have to have a certain accommodations. There would be a bathroom in there, so if during the time that they're waiting to be arraigned or waiting to be seen by the judge, they do have a bathroom accessible to those individuals, that they don't have to walk them out into the public area. But it's not intended to be, quote, a holding cell. It's just a place to stage. Call it a staging area.
So that's really only the big thing that's changed so far on the floor plan. Phil has been, he's been working nonstop with Climate Smart and all the HVAC stuff, and he's going to be setting up a meeting with you.
Art, yes.
Art, do you want to speak of anything that you've been working on?
Yeah, since we had that conference, I was thinking about a couple other things, like the condensate drains, for the air handlers. That's always a question, where am I going to run them?
Yep.
So, things like that, and then some of the controls. I think he mentioned having controls in every room,
Yes.
which I'm sure that'll make everybody happy.
I guess his experience has been that we've found that no matter how you split things up, it ends up being, if you have the ability, and it wouldn't be, it would be a control generally in every room, but then also control in every space. So if the planning and zoning is a space where there's 3 or 4 offices, the clerk's office, they would have the control over the heating and cooling in that space. And so there would be multiple zones within the building that allow for that individual control.
Yep, and I think he was going to look a little further into the heat pump to see
Yes.
feasibility. I know our Climate Smart feels there's more grants available there, so.
And I apologize, since Friday I haven't gotten something set up, but I'll get y'all set up to meet and have anyways,
That'd be
conference
good.
on some of these things so that you can continue that conversation.
That'd be great.
And I don't know how I forgot, but I'm going to say it on the public record to hold you to it.
Uh-oh.
At the last meeting, CPL said that we should be a month ahead of what we originally told everybody with going out to bid and finalizing the documents and whatnot.
I'd preface that with we're a month ahead to get the documents to the town so that they have an opportunity to review so that we can stay on schedule. But if the review is quick, then we'll be a month ahead. But our goal internally is to have the documents a month ahead of what we had originally told the town, so that, one, the town has the opportunity to look at them, but also so that we can get them out as soon as possible.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Appointment of a resolution number 300, 2024, appointment of 2024 Town of Pleasant Valley Summer Camp Director. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley intends to operate various summer camp programs open to its residents and members of the public. And whereas there exists a vacancy on the Town of Pleasant Valley 2024 summer camp staff for seasonal position of camp director. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley hereby appoints Samantha Lopez Maharado, Summer Camp Director, who shall be paid at the rate of $19.50 an hour. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley does hereby designate and appoint the above staff member for the 2024 Town of Pleasant Valley Summer Camp. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 301, 2024, appointment of alternate to Zoning Board of Appeals. Whereas now exists the Town of Pleasant Valley Zoning Board of Appeals vacancy for an alternate member. Whereas Ronald Perry has expressed an interest in being appointed as an alternate member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Town of Pleasant Valley does hereby designate and appoint Ronald Perry as an alternate member of the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill a 2-year term effective immediately as follows. Appointment date March 4th, 2024. Term expires December 31st, 2025.
I'll make a
Right.
motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have an amendment resolution, 302, 2024, amending the rates for the summer, for the Pleasant Valley Day Camp Sunny Days, of course I messed that up, summer camp trips. What we need to change is sessions 1 and 3 are $30 a day per trip, and session 2 is $45 for the day trip. If they offer day trips, and further be it resolved that all these rates will remain in effect until further change by the town board.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 303 of 2024, amending the 2023 general fund budget.
So moved.
Second.
Just-
Any discussion?
Yeah, just really quick, can you just clarify the comment, Emily, that do we need to specifically state on the resolution that it's not for the town clerk, it's for a deputy town clerk?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's just
Is
under
this
her
for
personal comment.
2023?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So the, it was brought up that A1410 decimal 100 town clerk personal service increase of $3,350. It's not for the town
it's
clerk,
not
it's for,
Now I understand. It's in the town clerk's budget,
Yes, it
though.
is.
Yeah, so
Yes.
so
that's
we don't need to
correct.
clarify that
No.
it's not going to the town clerk's
No.
paycheck? Okay.
did somebody? Almost, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 304, 2024, authorizing payment of abstract number 3P of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do I do this ahead of time? We have to put this off. Sure. Appointment, Town Board Resolution 305, 2024, appointment of alternate member to Planning Board.
I'll make a motion to table this until we go into executive session.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Resolution 306 of 2024, appointment of employee to the Board of Ethics.
I'll make a motion that we table this till after executive session.
Second.
And I just
Oh,
want to,
oh.
clarify that, it's just that 2 members of the board interviewed everybody for this, and obviously we have to have a conversation and hear how the interviews went, so, it's nothing crazy. It's just, we don't know how the interviews were, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Resolution 307 of 2024, resolution accepting donated services from Maury Architects PC.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to open it up for public comment for new items only, non-agenda items, one time, 3 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gary Vader, Pleasant Valley, Saw Point Turnpike. At the last meeting, I think it was the last one, at some meeting previously, the subject of a used vehicle came up for the highway department. And our highway supervisor, well, she was here, but he looked surprised that you didn't need a bid for used equipment. Historically, we have bid used equipment the same as we bid new equipment. For many years, we didn't buy new equipment, we bought used equipment, many, many years. Also, the state enabling legislation was increased to, I think, $20,000 from $10,000. This was originally put in 1951, and was increased in 23, I think. At any rate, the state goes on to say that the purpose of this whole bidding thing is so that you can't use favored people, and it's an open bid for everybody. So I don't understand why all of a sudden we don't need bids for used equipment. Question? Thank you.
Would you like me to address that? So in our procurement policy, we have a policy that used items in particular can be purchased without getting quotes, because typically they represent a good value and maybe something that you have to act on, fairly quickly, and that normally it represents a good value for the town, and so we have a policy in our procurement policy stating that.
Thank you, Emily. Any other comments? I'll close the meeting to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll
yeah,
make a
go
motion
ahead.
that we go into executive session for multiple personnel matters.
Second. I suppose so moved. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to come out of executive session at 8:45.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion to untable, geez Louise. She did. I'll make a motion to untable Resolution 305 of 2024, the appointment of the alternate member to the planning board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to amend Town Board Resolution 305 of 2024 to fill in the blanks with Suzanne Horn in both blanks.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And then I'll make a motion to approve as amended Resolution 305 of 2024, the appointment of the alternate member to the planning board with Suzanne Horn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.